I'm Max Lopez. This is the Blue Wave. Melania Trump has said that people cannot afford basic necessities the very same day that her husband, the Republican nominee for president, Donald J. Trump, posted on his social media selling $100,000 watches. Let's go ahead and watch this clip here on Mediaite showing Melania Trump's interview on Fox News. But before we do that, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with somebody who's into politics. It helps YouTube take my channel more and more seriously and spread the word to more people. Let's go ahead and check out this clip here from Mediaite.
Speaks for itself. The country is suffering. People are not able to buy usual necessities for the families. We have wars going on around the world. Soldiers are dying. They were dying under this administration because of weak leadership. The border is open and dangerous. A lot of fentanyl is coming over, killing our youth. It's very hard to see, and an economy, it's really not great. Inflation is high, and if we compare these 4 years under this administration compared to 4 years under my husband as commander-in-chief, he was leading the country through peace, through strength. And the border was safer than ever before. We didn't have any wars. People were prospering. They had jobs. They could support their families. So I think American people need to decide what they really want. Maybe some, strong tweets, but everything else great for this country. So it's all in the American people's hands.
So where to even start unraveling all of that, right? All of that nonsense. Donald Trump was handed one of the best economies ever from Barack Obama because of legislation and a lot of work that Obama did, creating a lot of jobs and getting the economy in a very strong place. And I'm not sure what she's talking about when she says Donald Trump led us with strength, when I'm not sure that very many people would say that they felt that Donald Trump was leading with strength when COVID was ravaging throughout our country, killing thousands and thousands of people and absolutely wrecking our economy. Donald Trump did not lead us through that. When it comes to wars around the world and the soldiers that are dying, we know what Donald Trump's solution is to the crisis in Ukraine. And we know that Russia very much so favors Donald Trump being in the White House. And that's for one simple reason. That reason is that Donald Trump would withdraw support from NATO that is given to it by the United States, financially, in arms support, and in other ways. And we know that the arms support that Ukraine receives from the United States of America is and has been what has stopped Russia from being able to completely steamroll and take over that democratic sovereign nation. We know this because the president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, has told us time and time again that that is the case, as well as many other leaders in the Ukrainian leadership, as well as the Russian leadership, leading them to claim that they're fighting a war against NATO. Well, that's kind of true because NATO is supplying Ukraine, but the thing is that NATO is a defensive organization. So you're only having to deal with NATO if you're going out and being a power-hungry warmonger trying to steamroll other countries that are next to you that are smaller and have a smaller economy and a smaller military. So Donald Trump's solution to withdraw support and withdraw funding from Ukraine leaves and opens the very possible potential of a wider conflict breaking out in Europe with other satellite countries around Ukraine being and getting involved in the conflict, and the conflict spreading to more countries, more death, more drawn out, and more destructive and terrible. So Biden's leadership has stopped war from increasing in Europe, right? You want to talk about peace through strength? What we're doing is the strategy is to stand up to Russia, stand up to authoritarian bullies through strength, through showing them we are going to support NATO, and NATO will come to the aid of countries that are being attacked by larger countries. And what that is going to do is deter other dictators from doing the same, right? This is potentially deterring Xi Jinping from invading Taiwan, because if NATO is going to mount a sufficient response, it might not be in the calculus of Xi Jinping to invade Taiwan, and it could be ultimately all because of how the Biden administration has handled the Ukrainian conflict. So it's just a total lie that the wars that we have now would be less if we were to have Trump. Let's just look at what Trump is saying when it comes to the Israel-Gaza conflict, right? Trump is totally on the team of no bars, no bounds for Netanyahu, and that Netanyahu can just kill and kill and kill as much as he wants and face no repercussions for it whatsoever, which is absolutely abhorrent, and is not a tenable solution to that war either. So on the border, when we're talking about border crossings, the Republicans killed the border bill that would have reduced border crossings by a significant amount at the behest of the former president. And this is because he wants this issue to be front and center in the minds of Americans when they're heading into the ballot box, because it's what he's focused a lot of his lying on. That the Biden administration is somehow directly to blame for the amount of illegal border crossings happening, when in fact Donald Trump has very, very much to do with that, based on the favor that he gives to dictators like Maduro in Venezuela, who cause mayhem and cause displacement of citizens in South America, in Venezuela, through mismanagement of his country's resources and not providing a stable living, a country that has stable living conditions for its people, forcing them to come here to America. And he very much deserves blame for it, like I just said, for killing the bipartisan border deal, and whipping Mike Johnson to go and whip up vote to vote it down ultimately, when it would have been something that would have decreased the amount of illegal border crossings. But they're not actually interested in doing anything about the crossings at the border. They just want to complain and whine about it. So yeah, when anyone's giving any sympathy to Melania Trump, or trying to hold water for her in any kind of way in the left, not that I hear this too much anymore, or at all really, but I've heard in the past that, we should be sympathetic towards Melania, or that she's somehow been abused and manipulated by Trump. like a lot of the other women have in his life. And while there may be some kind of truth, underlying truth to that, that Melania has been abused by Trump because he's an abusive person who abuses people, hurt people, right? Uh, I don't really feel that bad for her because she goes and does these media appearances where she basically just regurgitates all of his false talking points. And she faces no pushback at all, or is never asked to follow up or clarify or prove whatsoever what she's saying by anybody in the mainstream media or anybody in, certainly in the right, certainly not on Fox News. Not that I necessarily would expect that, but yeah, I don't really feel that bad for her. She's totally cognizant and well aware of the grift and well aware of what she's participating in and doing. I mean, to sell $100,000 watches on the same day that you are turning around and saying that people in this country can't afford groceries, awful, 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 awful. The grift knows no bounds. These people will grift and grift and grift until the day they die. They don't have any value or any talent or any ideas to bring to the table. So what they offer is to squeeze out as much money as they possibly can out of duping the citizens of this country into believing that they're somehow cr- creating a better country for middle class or average people out there, when they most certainly are not doing that. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys in this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with someone who's into politics, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.